Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
From St. Louis Public Radio. This is St. Louis on the Air.
Alex has always been a really old soul, loving, caring man. So, I mean, it's really hard to change someone who is so pure anyways. But, I mean, if it was to change him, I would just have to say that he's probably learned how easy it is to lose someone.
I'm Sarah Fenske. It's been almost 3 months since Alex Garcia left the church where he claimed sanctuary. Alex is a native of Honduras, and he moved into the church in a desperate bid to avoid deportation. Alex is husband to an American woman, his wife Carly. He's father to 5 American kids. He was determined not to leave, and so he stayed in that church in Maplewood for 3.5 years. In February, the Biden administration announced that people without a record of aggravated felonies and people who are not national security risks are no longer priorities for deportation. And at that point, Alex was able to move out of the church that had sheltered him and move back with his family. Alex and Carly Garcia have now had almost 3 months back under the same roof, and they joined us yesterday to give us an update on how they're doing. So, Alex Garcia, welcome.
Hi, my name is Alex.
And Carly Garcia, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
So, Alex, I want to start with you. You walked out of Christ Church on February 24th. Take us back to that moment. What was it like? Were you excited or were you also a bit anxious?
I was very excited.
And what were you most excited about in that moment?
Be with the family. To go out, how they was asking me, the kids, before, let's go to the park. I wasn't available to do those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But that day, everybody was, for me and my family, was so exciting moment.
Carly, what about for you? That day, what was going through your head as Alex stepped back into the world outside the church?
I was flooded with emotions. A lot was of joy because, it's the first time I've been able to see my husband outside of the church. And the excitement, in the kids' faces, it was a wonderful moment. But at the same time, I was full of fear. I was scared. I was worried, that it's just real. Is their promise gonna be enough? It's just a lot of emotions.
So all the anxiety that you had dealt with for more than 3 years, that didn't go away the minute that he stepped outside that day.
Oh, not at all. And I deal with that every day. It's not just a at the moment thing. That's trauma that I'm gonna have to learn how to live with for the rest of my life.
So even now that almost 3 months have passed, you still find yourself worrying about immigration officials could come, something bad could happen.
Yes.
Alex, do you feel that as well, that now that you're back and you're living there with your family, that you still feel that anxiety of immigration officials?
Yes, I'm still with that fear because I haven't gotten my status yet.
Mm-hmm.
That fear is still there.
Mm-hmm. So, Carly, immigration officials said that Alex was not a priority. They put this in writing, I understand, that they were not going to try to pursue this case. But as Alex says, he still doesn't have the immigration status that would make him legal. What has to happen for that to happen?
From my understanding, right now there's no pathway for Alex. Not to adjust through me, not to, adjust in any way other than to leave the country for 10 to 15 years. So, I mean, unless laws are changed, there is nothing for Alex. I mean, what we're needing legislation, which Representative Cori Bush, she introduced a private bill February 22nd HR 1209, which would give Alex the permanent protection that we need, which would allow him to work and also give him a pathway to citizenship. And also, I mean, immigration reform. I mean, there's things that needs to happen, laws that need to change for Alex and millions of other people like Alex that are suffering these laws. A lot needs to happen.
I want to talk a bit about what this looks like for your family now that Alex is back. So that day when Alex left the church, Alex, you said you were feeling such excitement. Carly, you still had some anxiety. Was there anything that you were able to do as a family that very day to celebrate? Or were you not quite ready for that yet, Carly?
Yeah, I mean, we went and got ice cream and went to the park as a family. We enjoyed a couple hours at the park. It was fun.
And Alex, you specifically mentioned being at the park. This was something that when your kids, they wanted to go to the park, you wanted to be able to take them to it. You were able to do it that very day. Was it as you'd hoped it would be?
Being for 3 years and a half inside, to me was kind of a lot of new for me to be outside.
Mm-hmm. Just to get that fresh air.
Yes.
Carly, I imagine that chance for Alex is the best part of all this. What's been the hardest or most challenging part about being together after having to spend that time apart?
Well, I mean, the time apart really, really helped bring us together stronger. And the feeling of losing one another really helped bring us together as husband and wife. So, I mean, us being back together, living as, husband and wife again, it's great. I love having him around again. It's like having my best friend all over again after not seeing him for years. So it's really great. But yeah, for me, it's good.
How has it been for your kids? What's that been like for them, Carly, to have Alex back?
Oh, they think they can get away from everything. I mean, Dad's home. It doesn't matter anymore, So they're loving it.
They have a new sense of empowerment there?
Oh, yeah, for sure, because, Dad's home, so...
Alex, has that been an adjustment to go from having probably too much peace and quiet to having 5 kids in the house?
Yeah, I was kind of being quiet all the time and came in the room being really loud. Mm-hmm. But I was missing those loud moments.
You were missing them?
Yes.
Yeah. Carly, do you feel like it's changed Alex at all, this period of time that was so difficult?
I mean, Alex has always been a really old soul, loving, caring man. So, I mean, it's really hard to change someone who is so pure anyways. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if it was to change him, I would just have to say that he's probably learned how easy it is to lose someone. I mean, we were there, and then before you know it, it's like we weren't going to be there. So, and we weren't there for a while. Mm-hmm. So, I didn't have to live without, my wife, my children, he did, I only had to live without my husband. I still had my kids to keep me busy, to keep me, on my toes and occupied, and he didn't have that. So it's like, I can't imagine if it did change him, how much it has. Mm-hmm. I just know that he's still an amazing person that he was before he went in.
Carly, you talk about that near loss. In 2017, Alex was ordered to report for deportation within 2 weeks. And instead of that, he moved into the church. He claimed sanctuary. Do you ever think about the road not taken, where you would be today if he hadn't claimed sanctuary?
I try not to, because I know how traumatizing it was to fight for him while he was here. Mm-hmm. Because the only other road to take was for him to be deported. So, I try not to think about that, because I know how traumatizing it was for him to be here, let alone how it would be if he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. I know when he first moved into the church, you were thinking it might be weeks or it might be a month. How did your plan shift when it became clear you were looking at years?
I mean, time really, it's almost like it wasn't happening, but it was. It's like when we'd look and we would actually look at the days, it's like, wow, this is really how long it's been. I mean, for him, I know it was much different because, he was the one that was stuck and couldn't leave. I still had to go to work. I still, had kids to take care of, to get back and forth to sports. He was stuck in the church walls. He couldn't go anywhere. So it's like, I can't imagine what he was going through during that time. I know how hard it was for me.
Alex, do you feel like time just slowed down during those years?
Definitely, yeah.
Carly, do you ever think about what you would have done if President Trump had been reelected? What if you had been looking at 4 more years of this?
Yeah, I try not to disturb my peace like that. So I've worked really hard on where I am today, so I try not to disturb myself like that.
So, moving to a happier thought, Alex, during the time you were there at the church, you had talked about how much you just wanted to work. Are you able to go back to work now, or are you taking some time to be with your family first?
Right now, I'm taking time with my family, and now we're working in my case. Hoping soon I can have what I was asking. That's my freedom.
Mm-hmm. And so you can't really go back to work legally until your case is dealt with. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Carly, that's got to be a frustration. I mean, Alex, the one thing everybody said about Alex back in Poplar Bluff is what a hard worker he was.
Mm-hmm.
And here you're kind of hamstrung.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, not being able to work, even though he's free, I mean, it's hard. That's why we need more. That's why, Congresswoman Cori Bush, introduced the private bill for Alex because, that is an action that can be taken. And that's why we need ICE to give Alex a stay of removal with, an order of supervision so he can get a work permit, so he can work. That's the fastest way to do it is for ICE just to, if Alex is not a priority and they say he's not, then just give him what he needs to support his family, because, I mean, that's all he wants to do. He wants to work. He wants to support his family. He wants to love his children, love his wife. And, and that's all we want. We want to love him. And, I mean, we just need that. And we need him to be able to work so that we can be able to function as, civilized people. Because, I mean, not being able to work, I mean, how can we provide for our children? How can we, do all the things that our children need to survive? It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just, we need more, and they know they can do it. They just need to.
So Alex is really itching to go back to work. At the same time, Carly, you're doing this work for the Interfaith Committee on Latin America. And I know that while your family has deep roots in Poplar Bluff, you moved here to the St. Louis area to be closer to Alex while he was in sanctuary. Do you plan to stay in St. Louis for now, or are you guys back in Poplar Bluff?
For now, we're in St. Louis. The kids are in school here in Maplewood. So we try to, we're trying to let them finish out their school year. And we don't know what the future holds. We just know that for now, St. Louis is our home. This is where we're at right now.
And Alex, here you are in St. Louis. You've been living here, but not able to really explore at all during the 3 years you were living in the church. Have you been able to get out and see St. Louis at all?
Not really. Just take my kids to the park and Science Center, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. So no big explorations, but...
Not yet.
Yeah. So, Carly, looking back on the time Alex spent in sanctuary and looking at the situation where it is today, what do you want people to know about what you've been through and where you are today?
We're not giving up. Alex needs permanent protection to stay here with our family permanently, as well as millions of other families that are also suffering. We're not giving up, and really hope that all of our supporters that have been sticking with us for the last 3.5 years continues to stick with us.
Alex, let me put that same question to you. What would you want to leave people with today as they think about your case and your family?
I want to say thank you to all the supporters and don't giving up on me yet.
Well, Alex Garcia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And Carly Garcia, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.